right, hello and welcome to another Expert Insight interview. My name is John Golden from Sales Pop, online sales magazine and Pipeliner CRM, joining you from San Diego as usual. And today I am joined by Mabel Katz, who is up in Los Angeles. How are you doing, Mabel?
How are you doing, John? Great to be here with you.
Yeah, I'm doing great. And Mabel is an author, inspirational and keynote speaker, seminar leader, transformational coach, peace ambassador, and boy, we need more of those. And today we're here to talk about Mabel's new book, Zero Frequency, the easiest way to peace, happiness, and abundance. And who doesn't want that?
Yes.
So, Mabel, do you want to just start off, give me a little background as to why you wrote this book and where the ideas came from?
Yes, so I'm originally from Argentina. I've been living in Los Angeles for the last 36 years, but I would say the last 10, I have been traveling all over the world with this message. I used to be a tax accountant here in LA, and I was a very successful tax accountant.
Right.
But one day I woke up, like I said, my oldest son talked to me angry, the way I used to talk to him, and he woke me up. So I started my search for happiness and peace. Abundance I had, but I was lacking peace and happiness, and I realized I was looking for it in the wrong places. So I started my search. I discovered spirituality that has nothing to do with religion. Yes, no, please do not confuse. So it is about finding that everything that you need is inside of you, and that happiness and peace, you can only find it inside, and it doesn't depend on your success or how many houses or how much you have in the bank.
So what does zero frequency mean?
Okay, so zero frequency means to be at peace no matter what is going on around you. That is like a certain vibration. Yes, we are energy. So if you are at the peace vibration, you are going to attract certain things. If you are buying fear, for example, you are vibrating at a low energy field. You are in the low energy field. So we need to realize we are creators. We are creating our own life, our own destiny. It depends on our decision. So maybe I feel the fear, but I do it anyway. I take action instead of sitting with the fear, or instead of blaming and complaining, I take 100% responsibility. So now I am the powerful one. I created it, I can change it. Yes, otherwise we are always blaming and waiting for something to happen outside of ourselves.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things, though, is that concept of accountability. Because most people, when you ever say to people like, accountability, they go, yes, accountability is absolutely critical. But they always mean it about other people, right? Holding other people accountable. It's rarely do they sort of realize that it starts with themselves.
Yes, yes. Well, I found out that when I change, everything changes, not the other way around. I am a peace ambassador, and my world peace campaign is peace within is world peace. Peace begins with me. So if we don't find inner peace, there is no way there will be world peace. And we have to get that, and we have to get how powerful we are. So let me tell you, this is based on oponopono. I don't know if you heard of it before, but oponopono is a very ancient Hawaiian art of problem solving that tells us that there is nobody out there doing anything to us. That everything is memories in our subconscious mind. Like life is the monitor, or when you go to the movies, if you remember,
those days.
Yeah, so the movie is a projection, yes, it's not there. So we have to realize that we do have the control of the delete key. And the moment by moment we are choosing. So we are choosing to talk to the monitor or take responsibility. I'm sorry for whatever is in me, or that doesn't work for me, I delete. We do it very easily with just repeating thank you, I love you, just stopping the stories, stopping the conversations that we have with ourselves, yes? And the stories that we create. So that brings you to zero, that brings you to present. It has the forgiveness including, because why? If you don't forgive, you live in the past. And you are with that person that you don't want to let go. So it is about letting go. And I have to tell you something that I found out in Japan. In Japan, they told me why when I did business presentations, I didn't put based on Ho'oponopono, or I didn't say it wasn't,
Sure.
had a spiritual component. And I said, in US, nobody would hire me because they think spirituality is the same as religion. And they told me, in Japan, we wouldn't hire you unless we knew it has a spiritual component. Because in Japan, we know that the foundation of any successful business is spirituality. Mm-hmm. So Zero Frequency, it's a book that is more for mainstream, for intellectuals. I can still relate to intellectuals. I am coming from the business world. I was not a believer. I didn't believe in anything. And sometimes the things that I'm talking about right now, I know they are maybe different or out of the box, mm-hmm. or, or weird even, but they work. I saw them work. I saw them working, even representing people before the IRS here, and defending clients, and getting refunds for them. So I saw how this can work, when you take responsibility, when you become humble, and even children, a child again. We have to become children again.
So what was it like when you started this process yourself? Because this is what I think with most people, right? Most people would look at something like this and they would say, yeah, sounds great. I would love to get there. And then they start the process, and the start's always really hard, right? It's always a difficult, and maybe you don't see results immediately, or you feel funny or whatever. So how did you get over that piece? Because I think that's what people really crave, is how do you start, and then how do you cross over into being able to actually go on the full journey?
Well, I have to tell you that if you say it's difficult, it's difficult. If you say, oh, you have to pray, because that's how we create in our life, If you say you can, you can. So I have to tell you, my life completely changed because I started trusting. And that made a huge difference, huge difference in my life. So, for example, I started my own practice of accounting and tax when I was always an employee before. But because of Ho'oponopono and this waking up, I started and people, at that time, we didn't have emails yet. Yeah. So it was the telephone, and somebody would call me and say, somebody gave me your name and number, told me you could help me. Most of them had audits, problem with the IRS. They would call me. I had to represent them. And I started practicing this in those audits. So I saw it really on things that you can actually measure, things that you can really see. Because sometimes it's, well, maybe I'm happier. Maybe I'm more at peace. Yes. And you can kind of measure that. Yes. Mm-hmm. So I started that. And then I have to tell you, overnight, I decided to let go of my career and dedicate to this new career that I don't have a title for, that, that you could think, no, I mean, and believe me, at one point, I'm going to tell you this experience that I had. At one point, I was counting with some income when I decided to let go completely of my career. And one income that I was counting on was gone. And sure, my intellect told me, you will have to go back to preparing taxes. And it was logical. And it wasn't the end of the world if I had to.
Sure.
But you know what? I thought, hey, God, you know why I'm here. You know how much I need and when? I'm not going to worry. And John, that became my mantra. Yeah. So it's not like I didn't worry anymore. But every time, but when you are conscious, you don't buy certain things. Yeah. You have you have free choice. So in that moment, instead of buying into the story that this was telling me, instead of going into the fear and the worry and what I'm going to do, I would look up and say, I'm not going to worry, like a little child. You know what happened, John? I started receiving emails. I'm a self-published author, okay? I started receiving emails from China, from Korea, from Japan. They wanted to buy the copyrights of my books, okay? And they would advance money. I would start I started receiving invitation from different parts of the world to come to speak, and they would advance money, as part of the contract. Yeah. I always had the money. I didn't have to fire any employee. I was able to hire, but because I decided not to worry, not to think about it.
Yeah. And one of the things you talk about is the perfection of your subconscious mind, right? So obviously a lot of what you're talking about here, in order to make that transition, you have to really tap in and reorient maybe your subconscious mind so that it doesn't fill you with the fear and the anxiety.
Yeah. So you talk to it and you say, thank you, but I'm busy, or enough. Or you
Right.
give them certain times. I don't know if you ever heard to Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor. I love her book, My Stroke of Insight. She had a stroke on the left side of
Right.
the brain, and she had to kind of re-educate herself on everything. And one of the things that she talks about is that that's what she says. She gives time to the mind, actually. To talk, to vent, 9 to 9:30 in the morning and 9 to 9:30 at night. And if he misses it, he says, sorry, next, So you have to, in that moment, you have to take control. You think you are in control now. But if you are more conscious and you are aware, you will see the signs. Things are going to start coming to you. We are so used to pushing. We are so used to, I have to do it alone. I'm alone. I'm a victim. I have bad luck. So
Right.
keep repeating that. You will make it a reality. Life will confirm that you are right.
Yeah,
So
because I
it's
think
really,
I read a statistic or something in Psychology Today a while back that had something like, it was something like 78% of our talk, of our self-talk every day is negative. It was
yes,
something in there. It was very high anyway.
yes.
And I guess that's as you're saying, that's the starting point, is it, to shut that voice up a bit?
Notice, stay present. For example, if you are depressed, you are in the past. You are reviewing things that didn't work, what you should have done, the thing of not forgiving. Yeah, if you're worried, you are in the future. We do not realize that all we have is this moment. And what deciding this moment can change your life forever. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it depends on you.
yeah. And unfortunately, I mean, we live in a culture today that, I mean, it's a very comparison-driven culture. It's a very immediate culture. Like, people are on social media, they're either arguing, fighting, or they're jealous of what other people are going on, or they're trying to project that their life is fantastic,
Perfect.
and all of that is. So, I mean, part of what you would say is let go of all that.
Be yourself. So I'm going to tell you another story that it
Yes,
changed
please.
my life. So I had a Hawaiian teacher for more than 10 years, with this whole oponopono thing, and that I mentioned to you. And when I realized, because I never did this to change careers, I was really happy with my career. I thought my professional life was working, you know. And but the day that I realized I was going to teach, I told him, I said, I'm going to go and take public speaking lessons. I don't, I'm an accountant. And he told me, no, that will take all your naturality. All you have to be is yourself. John, that is the best advice I have received in this lifetime.
Right.
You know how beautiful, how easy it is to be yourself? So that means you don't depend on what other people think, what other people say, and you pay attention what works for you, and you honor yourself. And that's the best gift you can give others. Show them that they can do the same, that they can
Yeah.
be happy too.
Yeah, as long as, I mean, I think here's the problem is sometimes is that uh, the version of somebody's self is not the best version that it could be, because they're not really being their true self. They're like inventing another, and maybe sometimes you have to look at the self that they're today and go, that's not the greatest self. I really need to go to the real self.
Yeah, so we need to really love ourselves and accept ourselves, because we all have unique talents. There is something that we can do nobody else can, and we need to get in touch with that. What happens if we work for the money? We have to unlearn a lot of things, that we couldn't do what we love. So one question that also was very important for me, somebody asked me, what would you do even if you don't get paid because you love it? And you know what I answered? And I was an accountant. I was just starting with Ho'oponopono, as something personal, for my personal development. But I wrote this, John, many, many years ago. And I put traveling the world sharing with others what had helped me.
Right.
Go figure.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic.
And I completely forgot about it. It's not like I went on, with this thing in front of me. It's like now going back and finding my notes. I couldn't believe I put trouble in the world.
Mm-hmm. Here's one thing that I have noticed, that a lot of people, when they try to go through life changes or whatever, that they struggle with, and that is sometimes you have to let go of some influences and people in your life that may be holding you back, and people find that very, very difficult to do.
Yeah, because but you need to realize that codependency is not good either. It doesn't make you happy anyway. Yes, it's the same with relationship. You don't have a relationship, you want one. You are in a relationship, you want to let go. Or you are in a relationship that you love very much, and now you cannot even be present because you are thinking that he can leave you or she can go, or So we are never present and we are never enjoying. Yes, because we are always again with our stories. So the thing is very important is to let go of what other people think or say. Like I said, we can be the example for others, the role models for others. Yes. For example, in my case, yes, I was a very angry mother. I was very frustrated. I was unsatisfied. I was not happy. So instead of going back and regretting and feeling guilty, even though that I asked forgiveness to my children, many times, but the thing is to be able to show them how a person can change and to show them that they can be happy. For example, I love to work with young people because I like to shake them and say, you can be happy now. Don't waste your time like we did, Don't go around circles to come back to see that actually everything that you needed was inside of you.
Yeah, and I think that's such a critical point. And I think people, like I said, people struggle with it sometimes, but it's like you have to ask yourself about what you really want, and about, are the things surrounding you supporting that or detracting from? And if they're, and it may not even be, you may even have to separate from somebody who it's not even their fault. It's just the way that you
No, it's your choices.
Yeah.
No, you cannot blame anybody.
Yeah.
People could have said or done things to you, but that is not the problem. It's your reaction to the problem, the decisions that you made. Because now you decided to see yourself as a victim. You decided. I mean, they said pain is inevitable. That's part of life. Things are going to happen because they help us to grow. But suffering is pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional.
Yeah. That's very, very true.
You can go through life, but hey, that's what you want. Are you happy? Well, keep doing it.
And I think the other key point, I think, to finish up on here is that idea of being present, because I think that is so critical, and that is probably one of, if not the toughest thing that people struggle with. I think it was James Joyce. My father used to quote this James Joyce quote, who used to say, you're living at an arm's length from yourself. If you're not in the present, if you're not in the moment, you're living at an arm's length from yourself. And I think that's the thing that's really hard for people, because, we're always either thinking back or thinking forward. It's very hard to focus on what's here and now.
So if you are conscious, every time that you realize, that you are not, you can bring yourself back. Yeah, that's zero frequency. Okay.
Right.
So I give a lot of, besides Ho'oponopono and the famous thank you and I love you of Ho'oponopono that brings you, I understand sometimes it's not as easy, to say thank you or to say I love you, but you can, even breathing, even connecting, going for a walk in that moment so that you don't keep replaying, connecting to nature. I mean, listening to a song or dancing, you can do so many things in that moment that you realize. Or like I said, thank you, but I'm not buying, I'm busy now, enough, you have the power to stop that. And for me, it's important, let go and let God. Whatever you understand by God, I'll tell you what it means for me, or where I found God. I actually found God inside of me. I realized that when I started letting go and trusting, things started happening to me. And I said, you know what? I'm not doing this by myself. So as soon as you make the decision, there is a universe behind you to support you. But sometimes, again, if you say, I'm a victim, okay, the universe will support you to show you that, yeah, you're right, you're a victim.
Yeah, and I think that's a great thing to end on, is just to reinforce to everybody is, yes, I mean, the universal support, whatever, however you perceive yourself is how the universe is going to support you. So your thoughts matter, how you feel about yourself matter, what you surround yourself with matters, what you input into your brain matters. And if you start to pay attention to that, then, you know, things will start to change.
Well, I was in a peace conference in India, and there were a lot of young people there. So they asked me to say 3 words, you know, what would be my message in 3 words, yeah? So I said, be yourself, trust yourself, love yourself. Mm-hmm. And then everything will come.
Yeah, and I would just add one for today is think for yourself. Okay, don't just accept everything. Think for yourself.
Exactly.
Listen, Mabel. This has been fantastic.
Thank you.
All of Mabel's information will be in her contributor bio. The book is Zero Frequency. But before we go, please do tell people a little bit more about yourself.
It will be available July 6th.
July 6th, it's coming out. That's right. The book's July 6th. So mark that on your calendar. I think this is a fantastic, a fantastic book.
Actually, if you buy it that day, you help me too.
Yeah, there you go.
Buy it in Amazon.
Yeah, exactly. Help it go. So fantastic idea. Before we go, Mabel, do you want to add anything else? Tell people a little bit more about yourself.
I'll tell you one thing that it changed a couple of things. It changed my life. Okay, so if I don't forgive, I'm hurting myself. I'm not hurting the person. Okay. What is important is what I think of myself, not what other people think of myself.
Right.
And we have everything we need inside of us to change our life. We don't depend on anybody or anything outside of ourselves to be happy, to be at peace. So please look inside.
Yeah, that's fantastic advice. So look inside, everything's within your hands. Okay, my name is John Golden, Sales Pop Online Sales Magazine, Pipeline and CRM. Thank you, Mabel, and we'll see you all for another expert interview really soon.